Hello and welcome to the Free Cheese, episode 567. I am your Joe Dix, joined by Matt Zellner.
Hello.
The Free Cheese is a weekly video game podcast about video games, brought to you once a week by thefreecheese.com. This week, it's all salty, as we talk about Salty Bet, the hot Twitch phenomenon. It's been running now for at least 11 years. No real date there to hard lock it in. We'll talk about its history, its present, its past, its future, and everything in between. But before we dive into the big old pile of salt, Matt, what video game would you like to see automated and streamed indefinitely?
My gut wants to say another fighting game, but that makes no sense because we already have it.
You got the one.
It's just endless.
All you need. Someone was doing
It's got to be short and sweet. Yeah, it's got to be short and sweet.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. I can't give you a good answer because I'm trying to think of something competitive in gaming that's short and sweet. That's not a fighting game.
I will let you continue thinking about it, but I will give you Matt's correct answer. And it's Double Dash with betting.
It's not bad. It's not a bad option. Just Baby Park endlessly?
It could be that. You know what? Honestly,
Babybet.com.
Get rolling, dude. I don't know. I'm not going to check the registry on that one. I think you could, if you did, even if you just did, what's it called? Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and just ran that on AI.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a real good one. No. I was, so funny enough, like DraftKings does, they don't do it for betting, but they do fantasy pick'ems for AI Madden games.
Oh, wow. But not for actual money.
Money can be bet.
Oh, okay. If you run out of your money, do they give you $200 for free?
No.
At the start of a tournament, do you get $1,150?
No, you do not.
Right.
This is the actual gambling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to stick to the salty version of that.
No, me too.
Yeah.
This, yes.
No, but that's, I think AI-driven sports is something, right? That would be,
at some point.
That's an easy, right? Like, of course NBA Jam. But, like, it's got to be NBA Jam where someone has gone in and, like, they've retrofitted it so that current rosters are in there. But, yeah. Stay tuned for more on NBA players.
I was going to say, make the engine open and just let people bring in characters.
Yeah, that would be great. Which is what Salty Bet has done, thanks to MUGEN, which I finally learned the proper pronunciation for MUGEN, which is Mugen. Because it's taken from the Japanese word mugen, which means without limits, or basically infinity.
Checks out.
SaltyBet.com is the easiest way to engage with Salty Bet. It was first introduced in 2013-ish. We say ish because the only like hard-coded date that we can find or trace back is the service's official Twitter account it has an automated script that pushes out the results of each match. And the earliest that those tweets are available is 2013. So it's been around since at least then. I have a join date on my profile of January 10th, 2014 at 12:30 a.m. So I believe I came home from delivering pizzas and said, what's this Salty Bet thing everyone's talking about? And there it is. Do you know when yours was?
Ooh, how do you get to it? I'm signed in.
It should
August
be
25th, 2019 at 5:08 p.m.
There it is.
Now, I feel like I had heard about it and just was watching it through Twitch without the betting because I was in it for the lols.
Yes, I remember doing that too. I specifically remember signing up. Now that I'm remembering this fateful night of January 10th, 2014 at 12:30 a.m. I remember coming home from work and feeling like I wanted to lay in the tub. And I did just that with my laptop on the toilet seat with Salty Bet rolling. That's exactly when I signed up for Salty Bet. I don't know if that's the best time to have signed up for it or the worst time, but yes, I distinctively remember that, just hanging out, unwinding, and Salty Betting it up for the first time. When was the first time you heard of Salty Bet? Do you remember?
It was through you at some point. I'm sure it was brought up during either a Friday night pizza party or pre or post recording discussions. I can't trace back to the exact time though. 2019 seems late.
Yeah, because I have an article on the website from 2017, which would have been like a year after you were doing podcasts and everything.
Yeah.
And I wrote about Mugen, and in that I wrote about Salty Bet. I wrote, one of my favorite projects to come out of Mugen is Salty Bet. After years of work on the game, the community has developed a lot of content. Salty Bet, short for Salty's Dreamcast Casino, is a Twitch channel that aggregates this work and lets the AI fight against itself. What you end up with is a lot of random characters fighting each other, and all in usually ridiculous matchups. You end up with Superman fighting Goku, or Ryu fighting Goku, or Goku fighting Sonic, or Simon Belmont fighting Goku, or Goku fighting Goku. There's a lot of Dragon Ball Z. The screenshot I have, we're going to talk about some of our favorite matches later on as we get through the show, but one of the ones that I have screenshotted here is, it's Buzz Lightyear, but like it's not a sprite of Buzz Lightyear, it's just like a picture of Buzz Lightyear, and it says winner, and it just like takes up the whole screen. It's a kind of a mess, which Mugen and Salty Bet is always kind of a mess. The thing that makes Salty Bet different is, as Matt alluded to, you sign into, or you can create an account on saltybet.com. It has the Twitch player integrated right into the center of the screen, but then at the bottom, in between each match, you are shown on the screen, on stream, you're shown both characters that are up next. And at the bottom, you're able to take your balance and wager money, fake Salty Bet money, Salty Bucks, on one of the two sides, red versus blue. And it's as simple as and as complicated as that all together, right? Like you're betting fake money. The neat thing is, the more bets you place, the higher in a tier you end up as your profile. Mm-hmm. So when you completely lose all of your money, what you are given to start over again with is higher the longer that you've been a member making active bets. How about Mugen? Prior to Salty Bet, were you super familiar with it, or was this kind of your...
If I did, I heard it in passing and knew nothing about it. I think I don't really realize what Mugen is without Salty Bet, or at least look into it a bit more. And even now, I'm not going to say like I know much about it, but at least I know it's a customizable fighting engine with possibilities.
Yeah, I mean, my exposure to it was always, and I wrote about this in the article on the site too, writing about it, but it was like stuff on Newgrounds where it was just like people like getting good, clean, like now when you think back of like Ronald McDonald fighting Sonic the Hedgehog. Maybe
I have heard of Mugen.
Yeah, like there was a lot of stuff on Newgrounds that was all built, because the engine dates back a couple, I think 2 decades now. Yeah, very, very much so. There is a little, there's a lot of meta within Salty Bet for certain. Some of it you can ignore, some of it you probably should ignore, and others are pretty common rules. But before we jump into that, I want to break down a bit of matchmaking and how matchmaking works. So currently there are 5 tiers. These are organized by win percentage for those characters. So a character they're only matched up when you're watching just general, not exhibition, but it's just what? Competition?
I think it's just matchmaking.
Yeah. Characters are always matched against other characters within their same tier. And the same extends for tournaments when we get to tournaments. There's X tier, S tier, A tier, B tier, and P tier. Characters move between S, A, B, and P by winning or losing 15 consecutive matches. And X tier is something where characters are placed there manually by the proprietor of Salty Bet. What has been your? Do you pay attention to the tiers? Does that sway your betting? What's
yes.
that look like for you? Yes.
Yes.
I largely ignore it. Why do you
only at P tier?
Oh, okay, yeah. What do you normally see in P tier?
Oh, the trash of the internet. I mean, it's the most either. I don't know. You see it all though, because there's like legitimate characters just suck. Or you just see shit like I don't know, like a stick figure drawn in MS Paint. Or
those are my favorite.
Or just like a just like a picture of a face or something. I don't know. Like it's just dumb shit. It's stuff that makes no sense.
There's one that I had, and I don't know if it was P tier or not, but it's just a picture of a trading card. Like it's not actually the character it's the whole JPEG of a playing card, but attacks come out of it. I don't know if that was P tier or not, but that's the type of stuff. Or yeah, to your point, it's just like that's of course it is. Or it's just pictures of things, which is great, you know.
Yeah, like I have I posted a picture here of dead geese, and I think geese is a fighter in a game, right? But it's just a tombstone with two legs and 2 arms. Like,
yeah,
it's so stupid.
It's funny because in the very first time I sat down and was watching Salty Bet during this run up towards us recording, the first match I saw was dead geese, and I was like. Right, and I wrote down dead geese, and it was funny that was one of the images you shared because, like, it's just Geese's tombstone. For me, like, I'll say, watching Salty Bet this time around, really like, kind of paying closer attention to it, and it being kind of like my default background in the last few weeks. It reminded me of why I love fighting games and why I'm excited now again for EVO this year. Like, I think we always kind of get that swell of EVO as we get there, but I hadn't really felt it until watching Salty Bet. But you just sort of get this, like, it's exciting to see, like, who will win, right? And I think in something like EVO, you start to learn the players a bit and you learn, right? Like, you can kind of almost predict who's going to win EVO. Not always. It's always surprises. I don't want to say that's not, but like especially certain games, like there's only a few players it could be, right? There's rarely someone that kind of rises out from whatever, and I guess the surprise factor, it's there but it's lessened in comparison to something like Salty Bet, where Salty Bet you really have you do have an idea, but you have no idea who's going to come up next, because it's like so rare. Like, I did watch a tournament recently, and I started to see some repeat characters from another tournament a week or so ago. Like, you'll get that stuff, but even that, like, I don't know. It's fun to be a spectator of fighting games, and it's fun to do that through something like Salty Bet. Do you feel like you get something different out of this experience than you do watching a professional fighting?
The whole betting thing makes it interesting, and again, there's no stakes in it. You could just keep betting all in until the end of time, then you just reset yourself or whatever. But I think that's fun, and it's the surprise of seeing how the odds go, to see if you, like, just from an image and maybe a few frames of animation, if you don't know the fighters, there's not much else to go off of unless someone in the chat, like, kind of reveals the hand a little bit. But yeah, like, you may be very confident in a pick, and then all of a sudden you see the odds are, 1 to 10 not in your favor, according to the way the betting went, and then you quickly realize why no one bet for the character he bet for.
Because we mentioned the meta of this, but I guess 2 questions. Have you jumped into research the meta to learn a bit more about it, or has it been mostly from viewing what happens in chat and things like that?
More so chat. I haven't really.
And then what have you learned from that? Like, what are sort of the rules that you approach when you fire up Salty Bet, you're ready to start throwing some fake money down? What are you keeping in mind as these matches come up?
Always bet waifu.
Correct.
I think that's tier 1.
Yeah.
Blade. Always bet Blade.
Yeah.
I follow the never bet Dragon Ball.
I do too. I never bet Dragon Ball.
I've been burned too many times by fake Gokus.
Yeah.
Even the SGSS ones. Still bad.
Yeah. I mean, the only bad part of that, and I think you brought it up the other day, was like, what happens when...
Yeah, what happens when I have a Broly and another type of Broly versus a Goku and another type of Goku. Yeah, it's that, and then I guess I should start adapting Always Bet Fire Emblem, but that wasn't officially one I heard.
Yeah, I hadn't either, but yeah, I think that's a safe bet. Which, honestly, they usually have a blade, so you kind of, by default. The other one I've learned through the years is always bet MS Paint. Anything that looks like it was created in Microsoft Paint, you should put your money on. And then typically, like, smaller hitboxes are going to work in your favor, which that's something you sort of, just from playing fighting games, but it becomes apparent the more of these you watch, too. Like, the tinier a character, the better they're harder to hit, right? So, of course, like, for example, as we're recording, I still have it pulled up in the background, and there's a character who's about half the size of the other, and the betting odds right now are 4.1 to 1 for the smaller character. It's just sort of, and as I'm saying it, the smaller character is just destroying the other one. The other one can't get a hit in. It's not always the case, right? But like, if you're looking to make some salty bucks, this is a pretty good, these are some pretty good rules to follow. There's a number of ways you can kind of learn. I mean, obviously, just seeing the chat, like Matt pointed out, like you pick up on these things because people will spam it in chat either before or after the results of a bet, and you sort of learn on the fly. But there's also been plenty of like publication people who write about this stuff that you can kind of read through and get the gist of it. We'll talk a little bit more about some of the other writing around this game in a bit, but what have been your viewing habits with the channel historically? How has that changed recently?
I watched a shit ton of it in the lead up to this episode. There were multiple days where I was just like over it after a day of work. And I'm like, come home. I'll probably just go to the bedroom, like open a beer and just watch for at least an hour, maybe longer, and just sit there and bet and, just relax, numb the mind or whatever. Had on in the background a lot, as well, playing some video games. But then, I don't know, I would say, but like traditionally, before, outside of gearing up for an episode or whatever, I come in waves with it. It's on my sub. It's I'm not, well, sorry, I follow it on Twitch. So it's always on my side panel because the channel's always live. And so every once in a while, if I'm depending on what's on and what else I'm doing or whatever, I might throw it on, and then I end up getting caught in it for a half an hour or so. And I might not always stick with it past that, but no, I always see as there, and I don't engage with it very often. I will say maybe once every couple months or so, if that.
It's definitely like I forget Salty Bet exists, and then I remember it. I'm like, oh right, and then yeah, I'm lost in it. But yeah, like you, I've spent a lot more time recently, and now who knows, right? But I do feel right now like I often find myself with like that. I don't really know what to put in the background right now, and with it front of mind, like Salty Bet is a great thing to have in the background. It's funny because like the more time you spend in it, I don't know if you've noticed this, but you find a lot of the same names in the chat just hanging out. Like,
yeah,
there's a couple people that are just there all day. It kind of feels like going to a bar and hanging out. You know what I mean? Like, you just get this like local little club. Especially with this being something you can just watch on the internet. There's this like global community around it where like there was one like random morning I put it on super early. Like I like got out of bed, fed the dogs, and I'm drinking coffee, put it on, and I glance over in chat and somebody's like, just got home from work, can't wait for this. And I'm like, huh? And someone's like, where are you at? And he's like, oh, I was like Belgium or something. You know what I mean? It's just like, yep, party on, dude. But it's cool. Everybody just kind of hanging out and bonding over the same thing. Do you know, now you might not know historically over the last 5 years or more, but what the highest amount of money you've accrued is?
Oh, it's got to be in this recent stint. What I have was around like 17K.
Okay. That's not bad. I don't remember at all prior to this. I feel like I did at some point rack up a good amount. And that's the one thing I wish Salty Bet had a bit more of. Like, I was impressed that it had all of my stats, like, or at least like it knew like when my account was created, and it keeps track of the total number of bets you've made, because the more bets you make, the different avatar you get for your character. It just kind of shows up next to your name in the what do they call it? Like the standings or the rankings?
Yeah, like
it's
like it's like a symbol almost.
Yeah, it's like you get these little symbols, and they appear if you're looking at the main saltybet.com on the left sidebar during a match. You'll see the breakdown of who voted for.
Oh, you're talking about over there. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, but like in there, that's where it shows your avatar. So yeah, I feel like I had a lot of money at some point, and now I'm at like $9,000 or something. And like starting this, I was back to zero, because I think the last time I was really like heavy into watching Salty Bet, I was doing some pretty stupid like all-ins each time, and I was on a good kick of it. And I remember being like all in, and then I just lost whatever it was and back down to the reset, which at that point was like $200. So I had to work my way back up. But yeah, was there in this run that you can remember that you took note of, was there a bet that you made that paid out pretty well?
Yes, but I don't remember the bet. I would say my best odds were like a 9-1 or a 10-1.
Oh, yeah, I'm pulling up. I took a screenshot of mine too. I think 9-1 is about where I was too. No, not even. The best I did was I bet $500 on Shiva from Mortal Kombat against Ryu Evil, and my 500 was I'm sorry, I bet on Ryu Evil, and it was 4.2 to 1. So I turned that 500 into 2K, which is pretty good. But other than that, I don't.
Yeah, I don't remember betting a lot though. It wasn't. I mean, that was how I got my jump to like around like the mid-teens.
Mm-hmm.
But like it was only like a $500 bet. It wasn't like anything, or somewhere like 500 to 800. It wasn't like crazy. It wasn't like that's how I got up there.
Did you have any big losses in this most recent stretch?
Yeah, immediately after getting to 17 grand, it went down. It went down pretty quickly afterwards.
Making a bad bet or like a big bet?
Oh no, it was just. I think I had a fat old -9 in the street counter.
Yeah, that does it. Which that's pretty cool too. So not only do the characters track their own wins losses, and you'll see that sort of. Is it like right as bets go live? No, you don't see that. So after bets go live, once bets are locked, you see the win-loss history of different characters. Yeah, you see that after, but you also see at the top right of the screen, you track like your win-losses right next to your name, indicated by a little plus-minus number. That's pretty easy. I guess, what do you think has made Salty Bet so popular, and why has it lasted for as long as it has? Because we've seen other Twitch phenomenons come and go. Salty Bet has like quietly just stayed the test of time.
Dude, it always has a couple hundred viewers in it, and it blows my mind. I really don't know. It's the engine. I guess the engine still. You have so many possibilities. Well, that's what I'm trying to say. You have so many possibilities with it that it keeps it fresh in a way. You know, I don't know. I really don't know what the secret sauce here is. It is addicting once you start going. You're betting and you get the rush of a win or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, and also there's the betting with no fear that you're not gonna be able to pay a mortgage.
Yeah, that
helps.
You do this stuff in other things, you've got real world consequences. In this one, it's just bragging.
No, but I mean, there's all kinds of reasons for watching it too. Like, you know, recently I was watching for the betting. I was having more fun, I think, betting it. But like, if you know, like I'm not as in tune with the animes and different fighting games, but if you know them, you're gonna see so many like characters you recognize just pop up, and you're gonna be like, oh, there's that person, and then what's the crazy take on this person? Yeah. And you get to see the movesets come out. Yeah, it's just, I think there's many different reasons for watching it too, whether it's for the laughs, to, you know, for nostalgia, for the betting. Yeah, I think that's part of it, but I mean, it's not like turn on, you know, I log on to Twitch and I see Salty Bet amongst like the top viewership. It's just a steady couple hundred.
Yeah,
and it works.
It's easy too. I think it's a good, like, when I was in Japan, I went to friend of the show Alex Fraioli's bar, Critical Hit, and it was a thing where it was like we didn't really know what to put up on and threw Salty Bet up, and it was just like. And this wasn't even, we didn't sign in, we just had like the stream running, and just like, I think it's good for that. Like, just hang out and laugh with, like, you know, something stupid to focus on.
I mean, hell, that's how I was doing it for the first couple years.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I had to known about before 2019 before I actually signed it up.
Yeah, but I think it's that. I think you're exactly what you said is right. It's like, you get to see so many characters that you like and you've seen in other things, like, adapted for this. There's also, especially if you're into, well, I can't even say especially, because I think anything has the potential to show up in Salty Bet. But if you are into fighting games in particular, right, you might love, I don't know, Ken from Street Fighter. And you will see like 29 different versions of Ken, right? Because there have been 29 different versions of Ken.
Yeah, that too, yeah.
Right? But like, you're not going to get that in Street Fighter 6. In Street Fighter 6, you're going to get... So like, it's a bit different. Like, if you want to go play I don't know, Marvel vs. Capcom Ken, you've got to go play Marvel vs. Capcom to play that Ken. And you're only going to be able to play it in there, where like this, you're not playing necessarily unless you download Mugen, but watching this, you can see that Marvel vs. Capcom Ken go up against... I don't know.
Ken.
Whatever.
From Street Fighter 2.
Yeah, or King of the Fighters Terry, or whatever. Like, It can be... Or you see him go up against Shin-Chan, or...
a Nokia.
Yeah, or an actual alligator. Just a picture of a gate, like, could be that. I want to talk about
Dead
some
geese.
of the dead geese could be there. I want to talk about some of the crazier or weirder or funny ones that we've seen as we've been watching, but I want to take a moment to talk about Salty Gold. How close were you to signing up for Salty Gold during this run?
I thought about it just because I wanted to see the tier list, but I ultimately withheld because I don't know. It was something fun about not knowing what the hell the matchup was and betting it just blindly too.
I agree. Yeah, I think there's some other stuff that you get with Salty Gold. But I guess it's not. Oh, you can see your betting history, previous tournament results, and character stats with Salty Gold. So Salty Gold is, I guess, the thing that's kept this thing alive for so long. But it's outside of just ad revenue. But
or the amount of ads if you don't sub to the channel.
Yeah, that could definitely be it. It's a paid service. You can buy it in 1, 4, or 12-month intervals. And those are for $5, $15, or $30 a month. Or I'm sorry, those are the prices.
Yes. Yeah.
You can also pay for the 1 year subscription plus Waifu Wars Online, which that's a whole other
What is? Yeah, I meant to look at that up before recording.
So those are to my best understanding of it, they are other bounties that happen where I don't know, certain characters, let's just say there's a Batman that you have to, right? Then I don't think Batman would actually show up but there's it's access to if these things happen, you get bonus payouts. I think it's that kind of thing.
Oh, okay. All right. Like a prop bet?
I believe so. I might be completely wrong on that.
Okay. Well, good thing this isn't a Waifu Wars episode, right?
No, it's all about Salty Bet. But I don't know, man. I've definitely been intrigued to view Salty, or to sign up for Salty Gold. The other big thing about it that I think is cool is not only do you get I think seeing the compendium is cool, simply in the fact that I truly don't know how deep it goes, how many characters are available to show up in the pool, right? Is it 1,000? Is it 6,000? I'm unsure. So I'd be curious to see that, but you can also make requests for exhibition matches. So if you want to see two characters go head to head, you can make that request, and exhibition matches happen immediately after a tournament. Is it 10 exhibition matches?
Ooh, I think it's 25.
Oh, okay. So those will happen as you make those requests, and then those characters will get, if they do well enough or whatever, they get pulled into the regular matchmaking rotation. So I don't know. It's a neat prospect, but I don't know if I keep up with it for another couple months of this being a regular thing. Maybe I'll do a couple months of Salty Gold. Who knows? Is there anything you kind of as you were watching, you wish you knew a little bit more, or you felt like you were out of the loop on?
I just want to know, I don't necessarily need to see tier list, but I just want to know, how many characters are in rotation? What is the odds of seeing, the same fighter if I watch long enough? Because I feel like I saw, a couple again, but I only saw them, twice, and that was it. So I just kind of want to know, how many active are in each tier, and, maybe what's the requirement to kind of keep them going? Because there's no way they have every fighter since 2013, 14, or whatever. There's no way.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's got to be some kind of retirement process.
Yeah, especially as they get to the bottom tier and just continue to lose. They can't keep them all in there. there's a Steam page for Waifu Wars Online.
Great. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. So, like, I didn't really look hard for it. Yeah, I just clicked around Salty Bet's website and like a quick search in their FAQ or whatever. But I didn't see anything necessarily saying kind of like what, how many active fighters are in matchmaking, how many are in each tier, and stuff like that.
No, and I guess you get that from like the compendium, I would assume.
Yeah, you see, that's the thing. But that's behind gold, so, which again, I didn't feel like buying per se, not for this.
Yeah. But yeah, the bounties thing, like there's a bounties leaderboard on the back end of Salty Bet that shows you who has the current number of highest bounties collected or whatever. So that seems like a whole other layer to this. If you want to go even more crazy, you can. Which, speaking of crazy, why don't we talk about some of the weirder ones that we've seen in our time with Salty Bet?
Okay.
Is there something that stands out like right away that you're like, this is the stupidest match I've ever seen?
I remember, what's the name of Dr. Robotnik, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so there was a Dr. Robotnik on the spaceship flying across the screen, and then the other Dr. Robotnik kept coming out of pipes that would appear from the top end of the screen and the bottom. So 4 would come down, or 4 in total, 2 from the top, 2 from the bottom. They were staggered. And he would pop out of one, and that would be the hitbox to hit him. So the entire match was if the spaceship could time the dude popping out, as he's just going stagnant like this. And then the pipes that didn't have Robotnik coming out, like, did this little like homing beam that did like the tiniest amount of damage, but enough to like chip away. It was pretty absurd to watch.
A lot of those where it does take them a long time to, because some matches are like over before they start. You just know right away. But yeah, some of the ones that like really, it's not even like the competitive like back and forth, like where you're waiting to see like who will win. It's just like no one's really making a dent. It's tough. I'm always a fan of the stupid things like there was one where it was a Shelby Cobra, and it was just a picture of the car fighting something, but like it destroyed. And when it won, it shot a bunch of cobras out of its mouth, not mouth, but like cobras just would appear. Really stupid. This morning, I saw, you mentioned it before, a Nokia cell phone as a fighter, which was pretty good. But it's always the like, I think for me, like, I love the silly, weird surprises, but I also really like just seeing characters I would not have expected to see at all. Like you pointed out earlier, like, this game has such a wide variety. Like, you just kind of get this, I don't know what I'm thinking of, but just surprises where it's like, why are they pulling that character in? Like, some random RPG for the Super Nintendo that no one remembered at all. Like, yep, there it is. There's the sprites from it.
Yeah, I have the picture here, but like, there was a Tetris man. It wasn't a man. It was literally just the long 4 straight piece, and it would change shapes to the other Tetris Tetraminos. When it was attacking. It so dumb.
Yeah, those are great. I love any of the ones that are like just full screen takeovers of images. Like, I don't know, just like a floor to ceiling picture of Tiger Woods' face for some reason. Yeah.
I was gonna say there was one matchup. I forget the opponent on the other side, but there was, I think it was I can't remember if it was Alien Horde or Alien Mother. And their entire thing, the entire mechanic of this alien character was just to keep all these aliens like the alien from Aliens, like all of them just keep coming onto the screen and like walking at the opponent. If it makes contact walking at, that's when it makes damage.
Yeah.
There's no way to damage the alien life bar.
You've got.
And I was wondering. So I was wondering, like, what's the wing edition? Because they kept like defeating the alien. They're like 1-2 punches, they would die off. So I was like, what's the deal here? And they were like, all the aliens were getting hit. Like, it wasn't like there was one hiding in the corner. Someone in the chat explained that the alien wins if it depletes the health bar, but if it doesn't deplete the health bar before the timer scam, it will die. It's a rush. It's a rush character.
That's
I was like,
good.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a rush of aliens.
Stages, because that's another thing we haven't talked about. The backgrounds of where you're fighting often are pulled from fighting games, but it's not always the case. It might be, I mean, a random level from, like, it could just be Sonic. It could be Green Hill Zone. It could be a Mario stage. It could be the front of a restaurant, an actual picture that someone took with their cell phone.
Yeah.
Could be a parking lot outside of a mall that someone took a picture of.
I did, there was one stage, I have the screenshot of it for you here too, but it was Rainbow Road from SNES, and I thought it was
great.
Like, yep, we just played Mario Kart from SNES not too long ago. That was pretty good because it had all the characters driving by in the background as well. At various points. You mentioned Green Hill Zone. I really liked that there was a stage that had that, but there was no camera movement. It ended up being just a small arena. And I think it impacted the fight some, which I don't think I've seen another like arena built like that where like it's, depending on its dimensions, kind of impacted how the fight went. Because you're used to any other fighting game, like the camera moves, zooms out, or, you move with the camera or whatever. But yeah, no, it was just an entire one frame stage, which, you saw end to end, and it made it very tight.
Yeah. And that's the thing I like about this too, is like you'd never see that in an actual fighting game because it's just not fair. But in this, who cares, right? Do you have a preference for one or the other? Like the silly, the weird, or the obscure
I like the silly
video game reference?
I like the silly. I like the obscure video game reference as well. Those two things combined, that's even better. I do like just the regular stage, like the regular title. I think it's just a tournament stage.
Oh yeah,
because
the
in the background is just footage from another Salty Bet stream.
Yeah,
and I always you get like a double dip of like randomness or gags or whatever, and then you got all the characters in the background too, because I think that changes up too every time they pull into stage. So even just like the default stage itself is still pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. You had a really good idea for us to design some fighters for Salty Bet. So I have a few here that I've assembled. I'm gonna throw it at you. Matt outlined fighters with some key parameters here. First, like, I guess obviously who is it? But two, do we want a small hitbox, medium hitbox, large hitbox? Is there a specific IP you'd like to target? What art style would you like to see these characters or character portrayed in? What is the general moveset? What's the general strategy of your fighter? And then what is their victory pose? So do you want to kick us off? You got one for us?
Yeah, so actually mine's going to be very easy to picture because I'm just ripping a character from a game. I forgot the boss name already. I am taking a giant coachman from Bram Stoker's Dracula on the SNES. I'm taking that dude's design, whip included, and I am naming him Hunter.
Okay.
And he is just going to be a Bloodborne Hunter.
Oh, really good. Really good.
Moveset, he will have the whip, of course. But he will also have the Augur of Abritos, which, if you remember that move, that is the tentacles coming out of your arm move that goes straight ahead.
Okay.
Yep. And then the other Mikolash move, A Call Beyond, which is the one where all those like the magic bullets, I don't know what to call them, they all go up and then they all like come crashing down at you, and it's like one of the hardest moves to dodge in the game. And that would be like the ultimate attack.
I really want a Bloodborne fighting game. I'm picturing all of this, and it's a shame that we don't get those characters in anything else. What's the victory pose?
The cage of Mikolash comes down on his head, and he yells, majestic, a hunter is a hunter, even in a dream.
That's gold. I took the assignment pretty seriously, and I have quite a few fighters here for you, Matt. So the first one, and listeners, I apologize, you're not going to get the visual aid that Matt's getting here, but the first one is the KD17 Sunrise, which is the latest revision of Kevin Durant's signature basketball shoe from Nike. It has a rather large hitbox. I want this image to take up most of the screen. It is just a picture of the shoe that fights, and mostly it should just be stomping as it goes across,
okay,
right?
Yep.
That should be kind of the main move. But I also think that, like, as you get different levels of your super, it should do different things to represent Kevin Durant. So I do think, like, basketball should rain from the sky. That's a pretty easy one. I think that at times, maybe the official seal from Prince George's County should just like fly across the screen at the opponent. To keep it video game specific, Kevin Durant plays a lot of Call of Duty. And in fact, for those who are unaware, he's actually a playable, what is he, an operator? Is that what they call them?
Yes, that's what they're called, yes.
Yeah, so he's an operator in Call of Duty. I think that maybe you incorporate an airstrike or just like pull in a couple of assault rifles from off the side of the screen and just kind of make that part of his moveset. And I think when he wins, the shoe completely falls to a standstill. It says KD17 Sunrise Edition wins. And then Kevin Durant just climbs out of the shoe and just looks at the camera with his trademark, like, cold kind of stare. Now, if a shoe is a little too wacky for you, I present our next series of fighters. They fight as a team. There's no other way around it. I'm sorry. But it's the Burger King Kids Club.
Yes.
I'd like them to have medium-sized hitbox, right? Like, it should, as a unit, they should take hits together. That's only fair. But as they separate apart, they should have their own individual hitboxes respective of their height and width. I do think that we should give them a visual update. I think that while these characters look great and the 90s designs are timeless, it's time to modernize them a little bit and also keep them in the 90s. So in the spirit of last week's Soul Calibur 2, I'd like these characters to be reimagined by Todd McFarlane. In terms of attacks, I think generally small attacks that exemplify their respective personalities. But as supers, they should throw out some of the more iconic toys from the 1990s Burger King kids meal toy line. One of them, it's not going to send the image correctly for you, Matt. I'm sorry, but it's the Bug Riders line where the Burger King Kids Club members actually got to ride in bugs. I'll send you a better screenshot of that. The gold-plated Pokemon cards, do you remember those little fellas?
Yep. Yes.
I think those should make an appearance. Oh boy, I really got some bad screenshots here, so I'll have to grab this. Glow-in-the-dark trolls. I think nothing's more 90s than the little troll dolls, and Burger King had like a whole glow-in-the-dark series of those. The Furbies, especially these nightmarish Burger King toy Furbies that appeared. And then there's also these Universal Monster toys. They did like a whole series of like Dracula and not Swamp Thing, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Frankenstein, etc. I think that would be a great addition to Salty Bet. And then at the end, of course, everyone reaches back, pulls out a Whopper, takes a bite. There's your victory pose. My final character, to keep things fun and educational for any of the kids that might watch, and all of us grown-ups as well, because it's never too late to learn, Matt. Mr. Yuck. I'm thinking with Mr. Yuck, it's a small hitbox. I'd like him to take up about, like a 100th of the screen. He should be pretty small on the screen. And his attacks are a little bit abnormal. He duplicates himself. A successful attack attaches a duplicate of himself to the opponent. It lasts on the opponent about 5 to 10 seconds, and it causes chip damage. Then it evaporates, or the opponent has the chance to knock it off if they fight back hard enough. I think his supers, you should see toxic household chemicals being poured onto opponents from up above the screen. A higher super, you should see a drain open up in the bottom of the playing field, and the opponent gets flushed down the drain, just like all those bad, nasty chemicals that you don't want kids to drink. I think for the victory, the camera should pull out. It should show acres of land decorated with household chemical bottles. Each of them has a little tiny Mr. Yuck sticker. The sun rises in the background, and a parade of smiling children walk toward the sun hand in hand. They're all dead, but you don't know that. You just see them happily walking towards the sunrise. Or set. You can view it however you want. And that's my my 3-character.
I love all those.
Fighting. Those were all like stream of content. I sat down to like get notes together for this after you sent kind of the rough outline over, and I'm like, who do I want? The first thing I was like, well, Kevin Durant's shoe. Yeah, that makes sense. And then what else? Oh, the Burger King Kids Club. Yeah, that makes sense. And the next thing was just Mr. Yuck. Boom, boom, boom. First 3. I don't know what that says. I truly don't know what that says.
I ended up morphing my idea for my original idea. Again, just Bloodborne related. Just straight up, it was going to be Mikolash though. But I was going to see if I could break the engine and let him transport from leave the right end of the screen to the left end of the screen, and he would just timer scam you for running and run the entire time.
I bet you could do that because they've got some Mortal Kombat stuff in the Mugen engine, and they've got that with, who is it, Smoke or one of them does the teleport punch, Cyrax maybe. So yeah, all right. I think you can pull that off easier than you think. It's pretty good. And now we just need that Bloodborne cart developer to make Bloodborne the fighting game. Any other fun moments, memories from Salty Bet? Favorite stages, characters, moves?
Nah, we had a bunch of them. I mean, I'll leave this recording and be like, oh yeah, I forgot that I didn't take a screenshot of that one, or I forgot to look at the screenshots on the PC that I had here before hitting record, but I'll eventually find that folder 3 years from now and be like, oh damn, I forgot about that.
Look at all these stupid things. Yeah, I think so. I encourage listeners, if you've not checked out Salty Bet, to go do so. Get your bets out there, learn the meta, have fun. It's just a fun thing to just pop on. And let us know in the comments on the website who your favorite matchups have been. In closing out, yeah.
Oh no, I was gonna say, even chat, like, I didn't chat much, but everyone in there seems fine, friendly.
No,
like,
and
no one's.
It's a great chat, and I think it's, to your point earlier, like, it's never too big that you can't just hang out with people. Again, it feels like hanging out at a bar with strangers that you're all watching something up on the thing together. It's a cool, stupid little. It's fun. What other channels or experiences have you had on Twitch that you feel like were inspired by SaltyBet or at least like made possible thanks to SaltyBet?
Oh God. Maybe those DraftKings Madden streams for betting. I don't know. I really don't know. Do you know of any?
The one that came to mind for me, like the one that was like definitely like they were inspired by SaltyBet and they did this, was Twitch Plays Pokemon. 100%.
So I was going to say that, but I feel like I know more things that stemmed off of that directly than I did.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But SaltyBet was really one of the early things on Twitch that showed people like, hey, you can be weird here. You can do something a little bit out of the ordinary. It does not just need to be a person streaming a video game. And yeah, Twitch Plays Pokemon was a phenomenon.
Well, in that regard, it was short-lived, but the running Seinfeld knockoff on Twitch.
Was that the AI generated
one?
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, all of that stuff. Yes. Like just full weird.
Yeah.
Get it out there. Another one that's been a lot of fun to watch. There's a streamer called Sebmal, Sebmal. He's been doing a thing, I think, once a month where it's a game randomizer. So his Twitch stream, he's working to pay off debt that he has. So once a month, he does this game randomizer stream where he's got a list of like 20 games and he's got it set up through an emulator where every donation that comes in that's higher than $5, it pauses the game he's playing and swaps to the next one. And as it cycles through all 20 of those games or randomizes whatever, when it gets back to one that he left off on, it picks up, it unfreezes, it resumes the save state. And he just does that and then plays through as many of them as he can. And it's a nightmare.
That's a fun nightmare.
A lot of fun. Yeah,
it's cool.
That's
a fun to watch.
Especially when like there's like a run where like, because sometimes it's like a while, like in between donations where you won't really see anything and he's just playing a game for like 40 minutes. But then all of a sudden someone's like, I'm going to donate $5. They change the game and somebody else is like, $5. They just keep doing it. I think stuff like that's fun. It keeps it more exciting. And I think the randomization of it, I think that is part of what has made SaltyBet so exciting. It's just the unknown quantity. You really just, who knows what's coming? Is it Gengar or is it
Luigi never loses.
CRX. Yeah.
Or Luigi always wins or whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Tons of fun. Go watch SaltyBet, saltybet.com. Thank you to the creator of SaltyBet, who I believe is still unnamed, but I'm not positive on that. But yeah, thanks for making SaltyBet, because it's been a blast for 11 years. This is not the end of our month of fighting games. It's not really a full month, but we are carrying this forward into next week. If you missed last week, we did Soul Calibur 2 to kick off our road to EVO. This week, obviously, we've got some SaltyBet. Next week, we're taking things home with Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo from Capcom. So come back, we'll talk about that. And enjoy EVO if you're there or you're watching at home or you're just hanging out watching SaltyBet. Until next time, thank you, Matt. Thank you, listener, for listening. Bye.